Okay, awesome.
Okay.
We're live.
Okay. So this is
So,
English 315, the Burke and Kant on beauty. So I guess we'll start with the first question. How are Kant and Burke similar and or different?
actually, actually, before that, we are still waiting on one of our group mates. He is trying to get connected to this, but right now he is not able to join us. He might in the future, but we're just going to start the discussion right now.
Okay.
Oh, we can start it.
Okay. So do you want to? Okay, I'll start. So first question. I would say that they were both similar in that they both perceived beauty as being something that was a universal idea, and that beauty is something, although maybe individually, like because of experiences, people may have different perceptions, that there is like a certain standard of beauty that is universal, and that people may like this and this, but everyone is going to like this. And they differ in that Burke supports his theories with like the senses, and he's very almost like scientific in his reasoning. He talks about like sight and touch and like smell and things like that, and he even talks about like lines, like symmetry, and it's very like scientific in that sense. Well, Kant focuses on more of like the why, and like why we find these things beautiful, and like what brings it all together. And he also like distinguishes between Kant, he distinguishes between like beauty of objects and the beauty of humans.
Yeah.
You know, talking about how like that like deer may be beautiful, but you're not like attracted to the deer, hopefully. So there's like that.
Yeah, and I think he also. Yeah. Sorry.
That's fine.
I think he also adds that like. Sorry, I can't hear you that well. I think he also adds that it's beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what you consider beauty is be considered beautiful. So it's kind of a correlation depending on who you are and what your personal interests are that determine what beauty is.
Yeah, he talks about like how your experiences and your memories like shape like who like what it's almost like with everything really, like your own like sense of style and like what you find interesting, because it's the interest he talks of first that sparks the attraction, and so you have the interest based on like memories and experience, which then leads to attraction, which is why it like can vary.
Yeah.
And also I found similar that they focused on women particularly in terms of beauty. Like they didn't hardly mention men like at all, which was interesting. Like it was the concept of beauty and they purely like attributed it to women, which I'm not sure what I think about that.
Honestly, they literally outlined the idea of appearances and in intimacy. Who was it? It was Burke that like really outlined the idea of intimacy, and that's what causes beauty, which then causes love. And then he also outlines the idea of beauty and desire, how they are actually different, but between beauty and love. If you think something's beautiful, then you tend to love them. It's attraction. Again, it is based off of like appearances and what you're saying about women and stuff.
Yeah, it all like
Interesting.
begins with the aesthetics of it. Like if it's pleasing to your eye and to your senses, you know, that's kind of how like love is like sparked. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not only that, but they also include, it's not about the text, but rather it's instead of actually bringing up new ideas, they end up constantly bringing up examples after example, just reading. So that's something similar between the both of them too.
Yeah, they both write in almost like a scientifically persuasive manner, in that they're giving us like this Well, it is. It's like a hypothesis, and then they're like testing it out, and they're giving us like all these like examples to support like why they, they think that. Yeah, so that was interesting. It was very like scientific. Usually, like beauty is something that's very like, I don't know, more in the like entertainment committee, like BuzzFeed or like the news or something. But this was very like scientific. It's like an interesting perspective on it.
They kind of went deep into the idea of beauty and how everything relates to one another, and step-by-step process of how to get to beauty from where you are right now. So
yeah,
is what I understood. It was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, it was good. Okay. Yeah. Anything else for question 1?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So question 2, what are some things that have changed in the ways we think about beauty between the 18th century and now?
There's a quote I actually saw about that one.
Okay.
I just gotta find it. That's what I was looking for earlier.
Okay.
Did you see anything?
About
how it's different from now.
I found one, like, I guess this is, wait, does it say that is similar to modern day? Oh, what are some things that have changed in the ways we think about beauty? Okay, oh yeah.
I found more similar things, honestly.
Yeah, I think the only like real like big different thing was maybe this quote here in Burke. The beauty of women is considerably owing to their weakness or delicacy, and is even enhanced by their timidity, a quality of mind analogous to it. And so I guess the difference in modern day is that strength is considered like more beautiful now, whereas in the past, especially like in like later days, women were supposed to have strength, both emotionally and physically. If a woman like spoke out, she was condemned. If a woman was like strongly built, she wasn't considered. It wasn't like universally beautiful. Whereas nowadays, strength is perceived more widely perceived as something that's beautiful. So I guess
exactly. In the past, they would always turn those women down. They expected a woman to be feeble.
Yeah. To be more feeble.
Yeah, feeble, weak, all that kind of stuff. Not empowered compared to a man, always their follower, the housewife, all those things. But now, like even in business, for me, women are one of the strongest people that I see in business. They know a lot of things, and most of the time, a lot of these business women that I've met, they're compared to their husbands. Actually, they're pretty strong compared to their husbands. So it's like the opposite effect compared to 200 years ago.
Yeah, the strength of like their mind and their spirit and like of their knowledge has transcended, stereotype. And I'm not sure too, because they talk a lot about aesthetics and less about like emotions, like knowledge and like intelligence. But I think still that when a woman is strong, that makes her appearance like aesthetically is like pleasing. Is something I think that has changed like for modern day.
Like along the lines of exercise.
Yeah, and like women who, because before it was like slender and like soft, they talk about like the delicate, like, like softness and like curves. Whereas now, like a woman, like athletes, I'm not sure if that's a later question. But yeah, like female athletes, or in the olden days, they would be considered, too like masculine to be like considered beautiful. Nowadays, they're, widely considered, and it's agreeable that they, are beautiful women.
Yeah. And nowadays, if you look at commercials and all these kinds of ads, magazines, they relate how beautiful these women are that exercise. They honestly show off their faces, bodies, like their abs and all that stuff, how they're able to lift things, their strength in
Mhm.
general. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
definitely a big thing that's different between the two.
It's kind of like the idea of skinny. Yes, it matters, but at the same time, you're also beautiful even with muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more that
Yeah.
today, like modern day, is more accepting of. It's promoting like all body types. We could like
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like modern day, I think is definitely more widely accepting of different kinds of beauty, not just
Hmm.
stereotypical like soft and delicate.
On top of that, color.
Oh yeah.
Color is one of the bigger things.
Mhm.
Back in the day, black or dark skinned, Asians, like for me, they wouldn't even look my way, something like that.
Yeah, it was
Compared
like
to now, it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah.
it was like the lightness was like the standard
So
of
it's
beauty.
exactly, it's totally different. Like even here in Hawaii, we
Mhm.
think the darker you are, you're kind of pretty or something like that. I don't know. But I don't know. I talk to people, I guess. But yeah, I'm so sorry.
No.
But it's and sorry, you're giving me a weird look. But it's different. I thought you're giving me a weird look. I'm so sorry. But I'm I'm saying compared to in the past, it's definitely different.
It is very different. Yes, that's definitely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we got this question down. I'll just
I
look
think
this
we did too. Sorry.
up. You're totally fine.
Okay.
So our next one. What are some things that you disagree with in these two writers? Um,
I think we kind of outlined that in the last question that it's well compared to our view as people of the we do not actually agree with what we consider what they consider beauty. Like how we outlined in the last question, we're very accepting. We think that everyone is beautiful, that no matter who you are, no matter what your color is, no matter how strong you are, you are still beautiful. So it's not a one set kind of thing anymore.
yeah, I
That's
think
more
too.
disagreeable things.
Yeah, we're more, I think, like tolerant and
Hmm.
like explorative almost. Like we're more like intrigued by the exotic and the like
Hmm.
foreign, whereas before things that were
Hmm.
foreign and exotic were like condemned. So I think that's something that's changed is like
Exactly.
and something that's different. And I found this quote
Yeah.
too
We.
by um, oh sorry, did you have something?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think it's Burke. He said, but in these, so far as perfection, considered as such, from being the cause of beauty, that this quality, where it is highest in the female sex, almost always carries with it an idea of weakness and imperfection. Women are very sensible of this, for which reason they learn to lisp, to totter in their walk, to counterfeit weakness and even sickness. In all, they are guided by nature. So this was probably like the main line in Burke's thing that like actually kind of made me mad, in that he's saying that like women purposely act weak um,
Yeah.
in order for men to perceive them as beautiful.
Yeah.
And then he
Exactly.
goes on to say that this is just nature and that this is something that they can't help. Which because I do think that some women like do this. They will like feign, like a sort of like delicacy, um, in order to
Hmm.
attract male
Yes.
attention. But it's definitely
Yeah.
not something that's guided by nature. I think it's a personal choice, and that kind of I
Yeah.
definitely disagreed with.
Exactly. It's very. I liked reading it, but at the same time, it's very disagreeable from a woman's standpoint because it's it's very stereotypical. It
It is. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting, but very stereotypical where it's it's not who we are.
I know it's hard, like, not to
So
develop like a feminist like perception on this. Like I'm trying not to like see it
honestly,
sexist and more as just like a
yeah,
scientific like reasoning, but it's pretty easy to be like offended, I guess.
yeah, like feminine is defined as by Google as having qualities or appearance traditionally associated with women, especially delicacy. Well, feminine, yeah, it it says delicacy and prettiness, but even now, like pretty, what do you consider beautiful?
Yeah.
I don't know. The ideas are just different compared to the past, so it's kind of very disagreeable.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. Do you want to move on to the next question, or do you have anything else?
I think that's it for that one.
Yeah, because I think we covered that one in our last
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what time limit we have?
Honestly, no, I don't know what time we are at right now.
Either do I think we
Also,
started.
I kind of honestly at like 8:32, 8:30.
Oh yeah, like 8:40. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I wish Taylor was here because I want to see from a guy's point of view what he
I
thought,
know.
and then I think it would be interesting to see what his opinion would be about something along these lines, especially when you have two girls in your group and we're also talking about femininity and how it's different compared to the 18 now. I we have a point of view, a guy's point of view about this idea.
Yeah, yeah, that would be nice.
Let's see the next question. What are some things or people in the media today that Burke would not think of as beautiful, that some people today might think of as beautiful? I think we
Okay.
also outlined that too
Kind
about
of,
masculinity in women
and like
compared
specifically
to.
like the women that like came to my mind, like the tennis player Serena Williams.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know her,
Mm-mm.
but
No.
I know she gets like a lot of like backlash from like media, like both like positive and then she gets like negative comments too because she's very like strong, like she's a champion. She's very beautiful
Mm-hmm.
too, and yeah, even like today she does get like backlash for being like strong, and so like back then I feel like Burke would not be considerate at all. And you were talking about
Mm.
like skin color too. Like she's like African American, and like that's something that would not be considered, in Burke's perception.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she was the person that came to my mind. Um,
Yeah. In the past, it's more like light, fair skinned, perfect skin,
yeah.
perfect everything. You're very skinny. Your face is like that. Eat as little as you can, and then like they have like the
Corsets.
something around their waist.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like what they do. Yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think he would not agree with the women of today. What we consider beautiful today because of how accepting we are to what is beautiful.
Yeah, we
So
are. I think accepting is like the key word here, and the modern day
yeah.
is just accepting, and yeah,
Mhm.
about sums it up.
Mhm.
Um. Okay.
Do both agree and disagree with the two writers?
Oh, did we skip that one?
I think we did. I think we did disagree, but I don't think we did agree.
Okay, so what are some things you agree with in these two writers? So I agree that
Yeah.
I think it's Kant, like specifically, that begins with like that beauty is in the eye of the beholder thing, and then he goes on to say, but like yet there are traits that are universal, and like, and I think that like sort of transcends just women and humans in general, in that like if you see a sunset and you think it's beautiful, that I guarantee you there's not a single person in the world that doesn't think that a sunset is ugly, and so there are like certain,
But there could be some.
that what, but yeah, there could be,
But there could be some.
yeah, and so there are like certain traits that are more like universal, which I think that's what he was arguing for. And it's almost like because it's something that is like human nature, this perception, and that it goes beyond like the physical experience, that he's saying that like beauty is something that is in the eye of the beholder because it's based on our experiences, whereas things that are universal, perhaps that interest is something that's more like deeply ingrained in like our human nature, sort of thing, is like what I was getting from it, and that's something like we can't even help. So I don't know. But
I think also in Burke's, like what popped out to me was how appearance where men think they're pretty, but like I kind of agree that yes, when men think you're pretty, you're beautiful, and all this stuff, that they fall in love with you. Kind of all that idea, because like how with guys, like, oh, they judge you by your appearance and stuff, and then that's how they get to know you, and then sometimes they fall in love with you. That's what I kind of agree with about that concept. It's not fully, you know what I'm trying to say?
yeah, because he did like go on to talk about how like interest and like love,
Yeah,
because he said that like you can be in love with someone without like thinking without them being like beautiful, which was kind of like harsh of him.
I think yeah.
Like,
but I think he also talks about it both ways, because like at the beginning, I feel like it was beauty caused love, but also he also bring up the idea that they also don't need to be beautiful to be in love. So kind of like a contradiction is what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of how to like summarize like Kant. Because there was like a lot going on in his, where like 1 second it felt like he was promoting, like individualism, and then it was like, oh no, it's universal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Feelings about be different from
I think when they're writing this, is kind of, they had the idea, but they also had a contradicting ideas at the same time, which kind of made it a little confusing for me to understand.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess it's all part of like that scientific reasoning, and that they have to like provide the pros and like the cons, I guess, and that they have to argue it from all angles. Which is like most successful in like an argument, but it makes it confusing for someone to read.
Yeah. I think it really is like kind of like a theory, and yeah.
Yeah, because this is something
it's not
really proven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Should we?
Yeah. Taylor hasn't answered back. I believe around like 8:30 something.
Yeah, I
like
think
8:35.
Of us too. So I feel like because I don't remember exactly what time we started, but even if it's a couple, it's under.
Yeah, but at the same time, honestly, I feel like these questions are so related to one another, because like when you answer one of these questions, you basically answer all of these.
Yeah.
again, because it's kind of about the same topic. It's
Yeah, because the two
it's a general idea of,
Burke and Kant are related anyway.
yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then wants us to compare it to the 18th century compared to now, like, and because of that idea, I feel like we answered all those questions within one question, you know?
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
when we're talking about femininity and masculinity, the difference between the 1800s and the 20th century, the idea of that, most of these questions that we are looking at, is what I thought.
Yeah, when I was going through and answering them, I found it was like mostly overlap. I was
Yeah,
answering.
exactly.
I was like using the same like quotes.
Yeah. Definitely interesting though.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. And it also shows that we definitely have changed throughout the years.
Oh yeah.
Compared to the past.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this 315 class chose to focus on like the Romantic and Victorian era.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to get a lot of like feminist subjects and topics because that was like a pretty huge issue back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't just back then, but even as time went on, it was still not contradicting, just like a big idea. Even as time, it wasn't until like now that they finally understood that, you know, we are accepting of who you are and whatever you look like, whatever race you are who you are, and you're still beautiful.
Yeah.
But it took that long to actually get to this point.
And still, like, even now, I would say we're not even all the way there yet. I mean, like, you still get the thing for, like, women doing the same job or, like, not paid the same amount, like, things like that. And so it's just crazy how...
It's still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
It's still going on, but it's getting better.
Yeah. And I think...
It's definitely getting better.
That we, like, recognize that, I think, is what really marks us, you know, as, like, a progressive generation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
like there's even a few laws where you're not allowed to discriminate in the work of women, no matter how old you are, no matter your race, your religion. It's against the law to discriminate under these things you're employed, because they made it an actual law. I don't remember what it was, but
yeah, they're like laws in place to protect basically just individualism, to protect, you know, people who aren't in the majority. And so that's a big step.
Exactly. And workforce is another big thing that's going on now too. Women in the workforce has greatly grown since, I have no idea when, but it's definitely grown throughout the years.
Yeah. The idea of like woman stereotypically the housewife.
Yes.
Regret. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. I love working, so I'm like, I don't know how I would be able to do something like that. I can't just be there for my husband, like just be pretty and just admired. Like,
I know, that's
I like working. I like doing other things.
Yeah, that's like the entire, both Burke and Kant, not once did they touch on beauty as being something that was an inner thing. It was all
it's all outer appearance.
Outer, yeah, which I just realized that, like, that not once did they talk about like intelligence being like a sign of beauty, or like strength or power, or like, it was all really aesthetic.
I would hate to be a woman back in that period, because like, what are you there for? Just making kids and just looking pretty for the husband? Like,
yeah,
who would want that?
I know, it's crazy.
No wonder so many women rebelled like throughout the years. Hello.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I don't understand. Yeah. So yeah.
Should we call it good?
Taylor, I think so.
Taylor
I
hasn't even.
think yeah. Regarding Taylor, I think maybe we should just say, hey, create a video that where you answer all of these questions that you actually did participate. It's just you were not able to get to these things when we
Yeah,
were doing the meeting.
when I submit the link to her, I'll include like Taylor tried to join but like wasn't able due to like technical difficulties. And is there like anything you can do to like make up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just say that we suggested that he should just send in his own personal video of him answering these questions, because yes, he was going to be a part of it, just technical difficulties caused him not to be able to.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
So sounds good. Is there anything else you need me to do?
I think you're good. Well, if you have any
Okay.
any quotes that you found, you could send them to me if you want. I could include them in the
Okay.
report. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Good discussion.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have a good
Okay.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye.